So a lot of people, they go and they buy plants by asking the nursery person, can I get something for indoors, right? And that's what I want to emphasize here, that truly speaking, there's nothing called an indoor plant. So we need to, as plant lovers and as plant parents, we need to overcome this philosophy of asking for indoor plants, right? There's nothing called an indoor plant. Let's imagine the plants are not made for our homes, right? They're made for the wild, they're made for the nature. So the fundamental here is to understand their light requirement. Any plant that has low light requirement or a medium light requirement, that is a plant that can fit into your home, right? And there's a huge range within that low light requirement what a plant can survive in or can thrive in. And we have to understand that. I mean, if we go always saying indoor plants, or I see people saying, what can I put in my sitting room or in my bedroom? The nursery person doesn't know how much light you're getting in your sitting room or a bedroom, right? So we have to always choose plants based on the light requirement. That's fundamental thing. And let's erase the word indoor plants from our vocabulary, but look for low light plants. That's very important. And I'll tell you why that's important. The light indoors also varies a lot. So say you have a window, right? When you have a window, then the light near the window, on the wall next to the window, and then the wall opposite window. All three places, the light is going to be different. And it's going to be very different at places or in your home where there is no window. There's a huge difference of light within that same room or within that same home. So we can't apply the principle that indoor aren't there. So let me give you some examples of very good low light plants. I'll just get them. I'll have to get up. But say a ZZ plant or a snake plant. Snake plant, you know, this is one variety I have here. But in general, you get a lot of different varieties. And I'll show you some really good snake plants that I have too. Now for snake plant, this can do very well in extreme low light also. So at places like say your bedroom, where you're going to switch on light for very less amount of time, right? It is still going to do well, right? But having said that, let's say another plant, like say, let's look at fern or this is neon pothos. This does well in low light, but you really can't keep it in places where you are not going to have any light. For a simple reason that it will become very stagnated. It will not be the plant that you wanted or what it represents. When we get money plant or pothos, we always want it to grow, for it to climb and for it to expand. But when you give it very extreme low light, then it can't happen that way, right? So that's why it becomes very important to understand what have we done. Two things. One is there are no indoor plants but low light plants. And second thing is, even within our home, we have to understand how the light requirement changes from place to place, right? Now let's come to another thing. I'll just do one couple of things that help plants, and then we'll come to certain aspects of knowing which plant we can keep indoors and which we should keep outdoors and things like that. So what can you do, say, when you have a plant at home, but you don't have a window, you don't have natural light? What one thing that you can do for that plant so that it does better? That's something that I get asked, and I'm sure that's something that people wonder, right? So if you see, that's one of my pothos. Can you see that? It's hanging down. And this plant, I had put it in on my fridge in kitchen, and the fridge is at a height, and that makes it very close to the tube light, and that helps a lot. So even artificial light would help plants tremendously. And you don't have to go for looking for special yellow light or something like that. Normal LED light, normal white light that you use in your home, if you keep your plant near to them, they will do better. That's why if you have kept plants in office, you would have seen that plants in offices tend to do much better than plants in home. And that is because in offices we have bright light, we have light on for longer period of time, and also on in offices it gets light right from 9 to almost 8 o'clock, and versus at home you switch on light when you come back, and hardly for 1 or 2 hours you're going to keep that light on, and plants get lesser amount of light. So anytime that you can, keep plants near a tube or a bulb or a lampshade or a table lamp or someplace like that. You see these plants, these are all, I have them indoors in my lobby, and the reason that they do well is out of many reasons, but one of the things is I have two LED white light bulbs on the top, on the ceiling, and they help tremendously. And not only to help them to keep them the way they are, but help them to get new growth. And that's the most important thing. That's how you know your plants are healthy, when you see new shoots coming out again and again. So three things we have done: no indoor plants but low light plants. Within your home also, the light varies so much from place to place, and we have identified that. And thirdly, even artificial light helps the plants to thrive. So these are three very important things which will help you if you're going to keep your plants indoors. Now, one more thing. The plants are made for outdoors. So even when I'm keeping them indoors, uh, how can I improve it further? And that's where I feel one of the important things is rotation. We have talked about rotation in many of our videos. We have talked about rotation time and again, whether it be it on Instagram or in YouTube or Facebook. In fact, when we had the live session with Ishita Yashvi, she emphasized on rotation. So what does rotation means? And it is one single most secret to happy plants. Rotation basically means you keep your plants where you want to keep them for most of the time. But for certain time of the week, you keep them where the plants would like to be. Right? So like every Sunday, how about keeping your plants outdoors so that they can catch on some sun? You can water them well without having a worry of spilling water at home. And that ways, say 5 days the plants stay indoors, but for 2 days they can go outdoors. They can have exactly everything that they want: bright sun, nice cool air, and they can chit chat and really have fun and grow and be healthy. And that is one way to rotate. The other way to rotate, which is one step further, is to do a weekly rotation. Keep certain amount of plants outdoors and some plants indoors, and then switch their places for next week or for next 2 weeks and things like that. Whichever you can do, both are extremely useful, extremely helpful for the plants. You would see when on Sunday on our Instagram, we get so many photos now of people saying my Sunday bath, Sunday spa for plants, and sunbathing for plants. And I get really happy seeing them, because I'm like, okay, some plants are benefiting from our handle, from our advice. So rotation is extremely important. Rotate them from where you want to where they want. And this will keep your plants growing and keeping them healthy. And that is an amazing thing. So this is broadly the things when it comes to light. But I'll talk about a couple of more thumb rules. Any flowering plant any flowering plant needs to be outdoors. So there are only two indoor flowering plants which are very popular right now. Um, can you just name them? Can you name any indoor flowering plants? Whichever platform you're on, just name them and we'll see. I'm seeing Wafia says peace lily, Shivani says peace lily, Harpreet Kaur says peace lily, Shraddha Bhatti peace lily, Soumya peace lily, Lily. Kiran says lily. No, not exactly lily. If it is peace lily, yes, peace lily. Okay. Anthurium and peace lily. Kalonche, it does okay indoors. It's actually an outdoor plant. Even same for begonia. Uh, Anthurium and peace lily are essentially the two indoor flowering plants that are very popular right now. I personally don't feel they're worth the effort, and we'll cover that in some other video. But what I feel is that if you want an indoor flowering plant just because of to add color, then we have many more better options. But yeah, that's a different discussion. So as a rule of thumb, any flowering plant is an outdoor plant. It needs bright sunlight. Your bougainvillea included. Your bougainvillea will do extremely well when it has bright sunlight. So, with the same logic, any fruiting plant, anything that has a fruit which becomes a flower and then becomes a fruit. So, be it in vegetables like bhindi and tomato and brinjal and things like that, or be it in fruits like strawberry or orange or apple or whatever it is, they are always going to need a lot of sunlight. The more sunlight, the merrier they are, right? So that is one simple rule. You see a flowering plant, keep it in light, keep it in sunlight. If you don't have sunlight, don't get flowering plants. Or if you get, you know that I will not get so many flowers from them, right? This is very important because I see a lot of people going wrong here in the very basic thing of picking flowering plants and putting them indoors. And while we are on the topic, I'll tell you one more thing. Let's do one quiz again. So, where should you keep jade? Let's do this thing. Where should we keep jade? People know jade? I don't have jade. But jade plant, anyone? Hello, Swethandaningi. Okay, so we have started getting replies. Adya says indoors. Roshni says outdoors. Kajal says sun. Asha says indoors. Indoors, indirect. Outdoors in bright sunlight. Chirag is on fire. It's outdoors in bright sunlight. So, Jade, interestingly, you have to keep it outdoors. It has to be outdoors in bright sunlight. And that's another thing where I find people go wrong. Putting jade indoors. And then I get messages saying the leaf is falling off, it is turning yellow, it has become limp, it is bending down, and things like that. Jade will do extremely well. In fact, there's a YouTube video I have. It is called Nursery Visit Ahmedabad, I think. Right, I'm wearing a blue shirt and it's all green. Just see the jade in the opening 10 seconds of that video. And you'll see it's huge. It's like this big jade. And it is kept in bright sun. For those who are from Delhi, I went to this India Habitat Center. And next time you go there, just note all the big decorations on the walls are actually jade. And they're big plants, all in sun. So jade is a plant which we need to keep outdoors, and I see a lot of people keeping it indoors. It's an amazing plant. I agree. It looks amazing. And now let's come to the second plant, bonsai. I know it's called ficus, but I think the general term today that has become all representative when you go plant shopping is when people want that plant, they just say, I want bonsai. So a small ficus that people keep are also known as bonsai. Where would you place that plant? Okay, so there's this question from Udayuk. Udayuk says my plant jade caught pest when it kept outdoor, and they never caught pest when it was indoors. And that's a question for a discussion for other time on how to deal with pests. So that is something what there is, what plant needs to be where. And okay, so what we are talking about here is which plant needs to be where in its according to for its maximum growth. Okay, okay. Dr. Shweta Singh is very happy with the jade outdoors, and for bonsai, people are saying controlled light. Some are saying outdoors. Kotak Padnithita is saying indoors. Bonsai outdoor is being said by my Scandinavian underscore home. Bharti Saran bonsai is for outdoors. Bonsai you need to keep outdoors. Devanshu also says outdoors. Madly Mad says outdoors. Sukriti says, can you have discussion on okay bonsai care and tips? We'll plan it sometime. Bonsai or ficus is essentially an outdoor plant, and that's why even in my office, so when I used to make videos from office, I would try avoiding keeping it in photos, videos and photos, because I felt it will give a message to people that you can keep it indoors, but it's an outdoor plant. Now how can I keep it indoors is, I have a big window where I keep it, but essentially I just keep it for like 4 days indoors and then 3 days in bright sun, and it's a controlled thing coming back to rotation. But ficus, which is sold as bonsai, or bonsai, which is primarily ficus in India right now, which is the popular one, is an outdoor plant. You need to keep it in sun. And the last one might be a bit surprising for you, and that is succulents. So where do you keep succulents? That's another question which I think really warrants an answer. Say you get succulents, where should you keep them? You know those small plants which come in really cute pots and expensive too. Where would you keep succulents? Xanadu is outdoors. Sorry, is you can keep it indoors. Xanadu you can keep. Okay, it's okay. Aparna and Shimpi and Lucky Jen, you are saying outdoor. That's great. I'm doing some good teaching, I think, at least. Purvi Singh says indoor. Adya says indoor. Uh, Priya Jen says outdoor. Shivani says semi-outdoor. Shivani, I love your answer. Semi-outdoor. So basically, succulents need to be outdoors. Succulents are outdoor plants, and succulents need to be outdoors. They love light. And after this question, I'll just take a moment to let you share with you. We have to understand where the plants come from. Uh, I think why I said I like Shivani's answer of semi-outdoors, because they're beautiful plants with beautiful pots. You want to show them off, or you want to keep them where you can have look at them while working or something. So you might bring them in occasionally, but keep them outdoors. Succulents don't like two things. They don't like moisture, and they love light. And when you keep them indoors, especially when you keep them in those closed terrarium, you're doing justice on both front. You're giving them high moisture and less light. This is a disaster. They need less water and high light. But yes, they also like the air to be a bit cool along with the light. That's why they most of them are grown in Nainital and other mountain tops, because the air is light, the sun is harsh, right? Very weird combination, but that's what they love. And we need to take care of that. So I want to take one moment here. I'd forgotten to share this, but we should. So we need to understand, where do our plants come from? Would you believe when I say that most of the plants that we see around, even here or in general at your place, in home, indoor plants that we keep, indoor plants, these are all wild plants. These are wild varieties, what we call as jungly, right? And we have to understand where they come from in that forest. They are the low lying, the bottommost vegetation. You have these big trees, they cover the top. Only filtered sunlight can go down. It rains every day. It's high in humidity. There are these like money plant and all this philodendrons and everything. They are just monstera. They are just trying to survive by finding something, a tree branch to grab onto, any place that they can get or find. They just grab it and grow. So they're used to low light in that wild condition also, to less availability of water. That's why you'll see, when you see the plant and it forms these roots everywhere, it's because of that wild nature. It's looking for the next thing to grab, right? It's looking for that next thing to grab, so that you have that and can grow on there. Have you seen these money plants growing on trees? Many places, especially government buildings and places, we see huge, big leaves, because they need big leaves so that they can make most out of the low light. And this is where they're happy. When they come from this place, they're very happy in an indoor environment. They're used to the low light. They make most of the light that they find. Then whatever moisture they have, whatever moisture level you have, that's good for them. But again, for them to thrive, once we understand where they come from, you should ideally put them in, say, a high humidity environment, and they'll do much better. So put them near a sink, put them near a wash basin in your kitchen or in your bathroom, and you'll see them do well. But now let's come to the other side of, say, there's this plant called desert rose or adenium. And I'm sorry, I don't have its with me. But I saw a lot of comments were related to adenium. Adenium is known as desert rose. And while it is fascinating to see it bloom with that beautiful flower, but the name should give you an idea that it would love sun. It comes from an environment where the water availability is less. That's why it has a huge swollen trunk where it stores water. And it needs to be outdoor. We have to always match their light conditions from what it was from the native place that they come from. So this is general idea. So jade is outdoors, adenium is outdoors. What was the, I forgot the other question. Succulents are outdoors. There was one more which I asked, but I forgot. Oh, I think it was these three only. So jade is outdoors, succulents are outdoors, and I'm forgetting one name. I am forgetting one name. Okay, doesn't matter. You learned it, right? Snake plant. Where do you keep snake plant? Now there's a very interesting thing that I want to share. So where would you keep snake plant? Yeah, ficus. Thank you, Sukriti. Ficus or the bonsai is outdoors. Yes, I was like, yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Pallavi Prasad. Where would you keep snake plants? Okay, so indoor. What happens when you keep a snake plant outdoors? That's a very within the room. When we talk outdoors also, there, let's say there direct sunlight and there is a filtered sunlight. So direct sunlight is you standing with nothing between you and the sun. Filtered sunlight is you standing under a tree which has not a very thick foliage, just some leaves, so the light can come through the leaves, but the leaves are filtering the light. Then there is shade. The shade is when the top leaves are creating a dark shadow. So everything is very brightly lit. The lighting is very bright, but there is no direct sunlight falling. So while anything that wants sun, they would extremely struggle when they come inside. But plants which are inside, when you take them outdoors and give them some shade or partial sunlight or filtered sunlight, they do extremely well. So take your money plant outdoors, put it in a place where it's not getting direct sun but some filtered sun, and it will do amazingly well. It will grow big leaves. It will have thick stem. It will crawl more. The same thing with snake plant. Snake plant can survive outdoors because it has very low water requirement, very low light requirement. But if it gets light, it will grow. It will multiply. It will multiply much faster. So that is my wrap up on today for light. And I'll just do a quick revision on everything that we discussed. And that will be keeping our session to 30 minutes. So one of the quick revisions is, firstly, let's not talk about indoor plants, but let's talk about low light plants, because that's the start of understanding the plants in a better manner. And secondly, even within your home, inside the home, the light conditions vary, and they vary drastically from one place to another. And we need to be mindful about that when placing our plants. The third point is artificial light helps. So if you can keep your plants near to a light bulb or a tube or a lamp or a reading lamp or something, your plants will thank you for that. They will do much better. The next point is rotation. I can't emphasize this enough. This is secret to a lot of happy plants. Rotate your plants. Rotate them from indoors to outdoors. So 5 days you keep them wherever you want to keep them. But for 2 days, give them the ideal or the best place that you can give them. If it is your balcony, then that's great. If you don't have a balcony, then put them near a window, turn on the light and let them be. After that, we understood that when we think about plants and where to keep them, we should think about where the plants come from. Any of these plants which we see around, which are wanting to really grow and multiply, they most probably come from rainforests. They will do well even in a filtered light. But for say plants like jade, for ficus bonsai, for succulents, they need light. They need to be outdoors. So do any flowering plant, except for anthurium and peace lily. Any other flowering plant, it needs to be outdoors in sun. But a plant that needs to be in low light, when you give it a much better light, not direct sun, but better light conditions, it will do better. It will thrive. It will grow bigger. It will multiply better, and it will be happier. But don't do the reverse. Don't bring plants which need good sunlight, great sunlight, and put them indoors for a long durations of time. Don't do that. So that's my wrap. That's our session for today. That is on light and plants. Very basic thing, but I think something that is going to stay with you. I mean, if you attended this, next time you go and buy plants, I think next time you ask a nursery person for indoor plants, you'd like, no, low light plants. So thank you so much for joining. Now, anyone who wants to leave, they can, because we have wrapped up the session for today. But if you want to stay back for an update on microgreens, you're most welcome. And one thing I would really say is we are going to shift these webinars here to YouTube. Please subscribe. Consider subscribing to channel. Essentially, we are putting one new video every day. And those videos are as informative as this one. And I'm going to do it every day till the lockdown gets over. And after that, probably weekly or so. I don't know. After that, I'll have some time of work to do, right? So I don't know. But right now, yes. So thank you everyone who joined, and you're free to go. I won't feel bad. Thank you, Bhavna Gowda. She said it's very informative. And thank you, Roshni Shetty, Dr. Shweta Singh. Done. Okay. I think that done is. Oh, I dropped my snake plant on my microgreens. How is microgreens going for everyone? This is my Sarso one. And this is my, what do you say, methi, fenugreek. And based on what we learned today, just please keep them near a tube or a bulb or somewhere. I'm keeping them under a tube light. What I'm doing is, and this is how you find places where to keep it. So just like this shelf, I have, can you see? It's not visible. Okay. So just like this shelf there, I have another shelf in another room. I'm keeping it on that because that way it becomes closer to the tube light. If I keep it anywhere else, the tube light is going to be like 5 feet away or 6 feet away. But when I keep it there, its tube light is, I think, like one and a half feet away. So that works well. Or keep them under a lamp or somewhere on top of a fridge. Any place where they're going to get light. Even if it is artificial light, that's going to help. So today is Tuesday. We had started on Thursday. We still have about 3 days for it to complete 8 days actually. And I think I'm really hopeful by the way the things are coming that by weekend I'm going to be using them in breakfast. So that's the wrap for today. And thank you so much. Would the YouTube link be mailed? Exactly, it will be mailed. So we are mailing the YouTube link today. Also, we had mailed. Probably there was some issue with the delivery. Actually, I'll tell you. Yes, I remember now what happened. We were planning to do the live in a different manner, but that we had some technical issue. So now we have sorted it out. We are going to send this link for next 5 days out to everyone, and that will be really great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Madeline Mads, for saying it's a great session. Roshni, I didn't understand what you mean by if I choose between grow bag and lot. Oh, you mean pots? Oh, I think it's pots. So between grow bag and pot for underground vegetable, I personally like grow bag because it has more volume of soil, and that's why. I mean, there's no other reason. Any alternative for coco peat? For now, no. I mean, you can use soil, but coco peat has its advantage. But you can use soil. Okay. Do you sell any plants? No. I really love all my plants. I keep them with myself. No selling. But we do sell plant food sticks if you're interested. I don't have the bag right now. Otherwise, I would have given a really good, cool marketing pitch. Essentially, you can check out our website, lazygardener.in. Okay. Thank you so much. We do check all the questions. Now that it's on YouTube, I think the better thing is the comments remain there and we can take our time to reply them. That was also one of the reasons why we moved there. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone who joined from Instagram too. But I'm telling you, join on YouTube. That's much better, specifically because the frame is different and it's much more engaging as a community. Thank you so much. I'm going to end the session. Just 1 second.